arrived to the Advisors Toolkit to Study Abroad. We're so happy to see you here today and grateful you've made the time to learn more about studying abroad. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. Some quick introductions. Like I said, my name is Sarah Vatch. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm a study abroad advisor in our office. What that means is I advise generally for our students on everything it means to study abroad, available during drop-ins. You'll see my name attached to a lot of virtual advising center messages. You'll also see me on online presentations like this and also presentations for our students, whether we're at Triton Days or TWOW events or family and parent orientation. So you'll see my name. I've been in the office for 13 years, but I've previous to working at Study Abroad, I was an advisor at Sixth College, and this is a picture of me last year in Costa Rica. It was like just about a year ago, and it was amazing. And I was just telling Caitlin, on the other side of the suspension bridge, there was a branch with like I think it was like a Costa Rican raccoon-ish and an iguana like cohabitating, and I think they're cuddling actually, but and now I'll pass the mic to my lovely colleague, Caitlin.
Hi, everyone. We're so grateful to have you all join us today. My name is Caitlin Para. I use she, her, hers pronouns. I am a global seminars coordinator. I've been in the office for about a year now, but I've been working for international education providers for about 5 years now and in this field. Um, in terms of what I do a lot of administrative coordinating for our global seminar summer programs, which are our faculty-led programs. So I work very closely with the professors who are leading these programs. And then I also help build out the programs throughout the year and do student advising as well. And then on the bottom right-hand side, there's a photo of me when I was teaching abroad in Thailand about 5 years ago. And that was in the Grand Palace in Bangkok. And it was gorgeous. If anyone has ever been, it's lovely. So before we get started, we also wanted to learn a little bit more about each of you. So if you could please introduce yourselves, you're welcome to share verbally, or if you'd prefer to share in the chat, that's fine as well. So we ask for your name, your pronouns, and your department. And we also want to get a sense of how everyone's feeling. So if you could also share your current mood with an emoji, and then something that you're looking forward to today. And we'll give you a couple of minutes to write that out.
And I may be reading aloud the chat so we can kind of see and hear where everybody's coming from. Kelly from Bioengineering, thank you so much for being here today. And yeah, is it Joey from Viewer Advising? Wonderful, thank you. Joji, thank you, Joji. Hi, Dawn from Urban Studies, Sheena from Seventh, Jane from Global Health. Oh, this is so wonderful. Melanie. Oh, wishing I were working abroad too. Bianca. Hi, Bianca again. Mona from Anthro. Alyssa from Athletics. Awesome. Oh, that's so wonderful. Walk on the Bay sounds so lovely and such a beautiful day. I feel like we've really entered the summer now. Mona from Anthro, thank you so much for being here. Oh, it's so great to see such a variety of departments and colleges. Melanie from Com. Hey, Jordy from Six. Good to see you. Yay, the weekend. I know. I wish we had more 3-day weekends like we did last weekend. That was quite lovely. I shouldn't complain. I'm going on vacation next week, but why not a 3-day weekend all the time? Well, thank you all so much for being here. We're so grateful. Just wanted to say that we are the chat is open. We'll be monitoring it, but we will have a dedicated time to questions at the end too. So if we're just flowing through, let's keep with that. And then we will be answering all of your questions. So please, we hope that you'll stay just so we can have some open dialogue as well.
Awesome. So, just jumping into objectives for today. So, the main things we want to cover is our mission, understanding data on student demographics and enrollment numbers for study abroad. We also want to share student resources. We'll be differentiating our program types and then discussing best practices for advising. Also, of course, last but not least, fostering relationships with you all and gaining proactive partners, just knowing that you can always come to us with questions, and creating that open dialogue. So, jumping into the study abroad overview, I'm going to give you a breakdown of our mission, and kind of what our office consists of. So for our overall department, it is global initiatives. And within global initiatives, we have three offices. So at the bottom left, you'll see those there. We have the Office of the Assistant Vice Chancellor. We have the International Services and Engagement Office, who supports all of our international students. And we also have our Study Abroad, of course, office here. Our vision and mission is just to provide high quality impact experiences that have long-term effects on their academic, personal, and career benefits for students. And then also making international academic and co-curricular experiences accessible to diverse student populations. All right, passing it over to you, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you. And actually, I want to go back really quick just so to highlight how our office is structured internally. So we're more or less broken up into teams. We have our global seminars team, which Caitlin is one of our global seminars coordinators. And that's made up of Caitlin, Ellie, Lisa, and our director or assistant director of program development and global seminars, Tonya. And then we have our UC EAP team, which is myself, Emily Louie, and Genesis Herrera. We are, and then Assistant Director Jay Minert, and he oversees UC EAP for our campus, outreach, and also academic integration. We are a smaller team than for some people who have been around a long time. Which is what makes our collaboration today and this meeting and getting to know all of you and you getting to know us so important is that we working together is just really drives our mission and our vision home as well. So now we're going to jump into our numbers just a little bit. And this is just to show you a snapshot of where we were previous to the pandemic, and then how our numbers have grown in the last couple of years. As you can imagine, as the pandemic was rolling through, we were always planning and students kept applying because in order to study abroad, you need to have that year ahead. So while we were always very busy, we were always during those years bringing, sadly unfortunate news to our students that programs weren't running just because of the state of the world. But we're in a better spot now than we were years ago. As you can see, our numbers, while they are around the same, so you'll see us in this thousands mark of students who are studying abroad, we notice that some of our populations are growing. And while some have not met pre-pandemic numbers, we're inching our way through. And not only did we come through a pandemic, the world around us affects the participation and what's happening as well. So obviously the recent administration and budget cuts and whatnot, those kind of factor into what's happening at our university as well, which we all know. And so we see that happening as well. So 25, 26 numbers, we'll see those next year. And always this information is being updated on our dashboard, which we have a link down here. We'll share that later. This is an interactive resource. Anyone can use it. It's through Tableau. Our assistant director of programs, Tonya Pizer, she is so excellent at updating that every year. So you can even pick and choose majors, colleges, and whatnot to see where students are studying abroad. Also, anytime you are curious about students within your own department are studying abroad or trends or whatnot, please reach out to us. We're happy to pull some of that information for you. So my own mistake. I forgot to add the STEM students for this year, which is at 48%. So we are growing in STEM. That's also mirrors our campus, right? We are a high STEM university. So we do send almost half of our students who study abroad are within the STEM fields. Something else that we wanted to highlight was the gender markers. In pre-pandemic, this wasn't an option when students indicated their gender, and now it is. So we see an increase in students who are non-binary as their identity. We also wanted to highlight the growth in our Hispanic, Latinx, and Chicana X population, an increase, which is also towards the university's goal of being an HSI university. The other statistic that is important is our African American and Black students. These percentages mirror our university's population of students also. So that is showing that we are mirroring that is also an important and positive marker too. So this is what we have for 24-25. I also want to state before I move on, I know I'm talking a lot on this slide, but different than our university and our terms, summer is actually a starter and not the end. So study abroad always begins in the summer. And I'll probably mention that again later on, but that's important to note as well when we're looking at our numbers is when we're talking 24-25, we're not starting with fall, we're actually starting with summer of 24, even though that's the end for our academic departments and colleges and the university as a whole. We're just different like that. So going into our numbers a little bit more, I wanted to highlight where we're at now. So as you can see, total participation for 24-25 was 1,185. Some of this ebbs and flows just depending on the programs. This year so far, we're at 1177. We don't use numbers as our successes, but we do love seeing more students studying abroad. We know that success comes in many forms, but it's also, I think, interesting to see the students who are going abroad and then also breaking it down in the demographics as well. It shows us where we're succeeding, maybe where we need to do more work. How can we better collaborate with our partners like you all who are here today? So where we're at so far, starting with summer 25, our participation, we are still accepting applications for winter and spring of 2026. This goes for, and we say winter because there are some UC EAP winter quarter programs. There's spring semester options, and there's also some spring quarter options. Students incoming to the university, not first years, but transfer students are eligible to apply for some winter and spring programs. And that is common that we'll meet with students who, knowing they have a couple years, really want to hit the ground and plan their years. So if you do in the upcoming weeks, as the enrollment is beginning and those communications in the virtual advising center are happening, please redirect them to us if they're interested in studying abroad, or as you're looking at their plans, winter and spring are kind of open. There are some great programs. It's not a ton of options in winter quarter or spring quarter, but there's definitely some opportunities for them as long as they meet the eligibility for that. And you'll see deadlines through the end of this month and some in September, just depending. And those are all visible on the UC EAP website, which I'll go into later what that all means. We're at 455 students for global seminars this summer, which Caitlin will go into a little bit more. 35 for global exchange, again, still accepting apps for that. And for all other programs, we're at about 32 students. Some of the successes we've had over the years, we're highlighting here under scholarships, diversity of ethnicity, entrepreneur programs, which is program development within our own office, and partnerships we have around campus. We continue to have amazing partnerships with colleges, Oasis, Passport, the Chancellor, and more to offer funding for our students, which is so important. It's one of the number one factors students consider when they're studying abroad is like, how can I afford this? So we do have funding available for our students, which we highlight all the time. So please also share that message to the students, because while scholarships aren't guaranteed, there is a lot of opportunity for students, and we also support students in prepping for those opportunities. We offer scholarship workshops as long as we have enough time, we will look over scholarships for students. Oasis offers writing help and resources as well. So we're doing our best to really make sure our students have award-winning essays too. As I mentioned in the previous slide, our diversity of ethnicity mirrors campus and national averages in many categories, which we're very proud of. And that also is in complement to some of the programs that we've developed over the last few years, including offering more and more global seminars over a variety of departments. As you saw in some of our numbers, our global seminars are huge and growing, and these are programs which Caitlin will go into where our students with higher need are very attracted to. They're great programs for students who it's their first time studying abroad or going abroad in general. We also have our global exchange programs, which are relatively new within the last 5 years or so, and it keeps the tuition local. Global concentrations, which live within each of the departments, it allows students to have that transcripted on their records that they focused in on a global concentration. We've partnered with CIEE, which is a national study abroad provider, to offer internship programs and scholarships for students. We actually this summer sent our first group of students fully funded on the Future Innovator Scholarship. That is a fully paid internship program that students were able to go on. Primarily transfer students. So that was a very exciting program. And then our continued partnerships with you all, with global seminars, factoring in where these classes that students take fit into their academic records. I said funding was important, but like tied for first is probably like, how do my classes fit into my plan? How will I graduate? So these partnerships are so important to all of us as well. Working with faculty around campus and departments and encouraging faculty to apply for global seminars. And then our global exchange and department specific agreements, which really grow the opportunities for our students. And we're so happy and pleased about those successes. We also, as I mentioned, have our commitment to look at study abroad through the lens of all of our students and make sure that everyone sees themselves in these opportunities. So it's woven throughout everything we do. We're always with the mindset with who is seeing this, who has the opportunity, are we speaking to our population of students? So we take that very seriously, and we've had important partnerships to do that, highlighting our Chancellor Scholarship, the Future Innovators, as I mentioned, prominent identity resources on our website, working closely with offices like the USS office on campus. And then all our programs and getting tongue-tied. Initiatives are designed and implemented in full compliance with Prop 209 and also anti-discrimination policies. Still me. Hope you're not sick of me yet. And as I mentioned earlier, finances, scholarships, top tier decision making for our students. Financial aid is available for students studying abroad. We echo this, we scream this from the hilltops when we are working with our students, is how important and for students to understand their financial aid and know that it is available for them on programs. We are so lucky in our office to have a financial aid advisor dedicated to our team. His name is Eduardo. He's wonderful. He offers drop-in advising, appointments. He meets with students once they finalize their programs to go over their specific budgets. And he's also built out our website with financial aid pages with very specific information about summer, fall, year, what that means, general info that will really inform our students. Also great handouts that will show, depending on when they go, whether it's summer or during the year, how the aid works and what is available and what's not. So it's really like, it's also an education for our students, not only about like how to find programs and what to do, but it's understanding their financial aid. And even working in this office, I've learned so much more about financial aid because it really needs to be looked at more closely when working with students. So we are so grateful for him. And also his work on scholarships and awarding our students, funding, of course, has been impacted through the years, but we are very happy to report that we do have a 5-year commitment from the chancellor to award our students. And with the ebb and flow of scholarships and obviously our finances as the university and how things are going in our world right now, we can also rely on some program-based and national scholarships like the Gilman, which is a national scholarship, which we awarded, I think, about 20 students this year or so. Caitlin can probably chime in, but it's a national scholarship, and we're so proud to be not this year necessarily, but I think last year we were one of the top awarding institutions at UC San Diego, which is we're very proud of. Gilman is very lucrative. It can award up to $5,000 for study abroad programs for our students. UC which is one of our partners, they offer their own scholarships, and then there are some national and some of the providers offer scholarships too. So we really try to help students find money wherever it is. We have a database on our website, as well as the workshops I had mentioned before, and our close ties with Eduardo and the support he has for our students too. Okay, we're getting into the programs. I hope you all are doing well over there. And I see there's some questions in the chat, which we'll peek at in a moment. We'll have a little break with a nice little video I'm going to show you.
Sarah, I was just including links in
Yes.
the chat for them. So
Oh,
it's just
wonderful.
syncing.
Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Caitlin. So we're going to jump into our program types now. You've probably heard these words and acronyms over the course of all, your work with the students. So we have our global seminars, UC which stands for, it's the UC's Study Abroad Provider, stands for the UC Education Abroad Program. Global Exchange, and then our Opportunities Abroad program, which you'll also hear as OAP sometimes. I'm nervous I didn't share this sound, so I'm going to do a quick test before I introduce this to you all. Can you hear it?
Hi, everybody. My name is
Yes.
Yes.
Lawson.
Okay. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for allowing me to do a brief little test. So we wanted to show this video. I will admit it's a little bit dated, but it's so wonderful because this is one of our returnees from the Ghana program at the University of Accra. She also was a Gilman awardee. So as part of the award, some of the scholarships will ask students to give back to their community, and we're so grateful for that because hearing from the students is so important. They can really picture themselves in these opportunities and get very excited. I promise you all will feel those feelings after watching her video. So this was her contribution to our office, and also the International Studies Department has access to use this as well. So she's one of our students. She graduated a few years ago. So as I mentioned, a little bit dated, but I think you'll get a great feeling for her experience while she was abroad. So without further ado.
I'm a second-year transfer student.
I don't think we can hear it anymore.
Yeah, Sarah, the sound went out.
Because I would
Oh,
love
just
Oh, there it goes back.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
different backgrounds participate in the different programs offered at UCSD, such as the Global Seminar Program, UC, EAP, and OAP. I definitely encourage you guys to visit the Study Abroad website to discover all the other programs offered. So today, I'm going to tell you guys all about my experience studying abroad in Ghana and how you guys can do the same. Prior to studying abroad, I had no idea where I wanted to apply. I just had to ask myself, what do I want this experience to do for me? What do I want to get out of it? I knew that after my studies in the US, I would essentially like to move to another country. It came down to Ghana because I just knew that if I had to live in an African country, it would have to be there. So I ended up studying abroad in fall 2019 in Accra at the University of Ghana, Legon. Studying abroad is the opportunity to discover more about yourself, attain personal goals, get out of the US and explore different things. Or maybe you're about to graduate and you don't know where you want to live and you don't know what you exactly want to do, then this is a perfect opportunity for you to learn more about another culture, to move out of the country and discover new places. This experience will essentially do whatever you want it to do for you, and you can mold it however you would like it to be. Upon arrival in Ghana, we actually had a rigorous orientation week. I was not ready for this, but it was very fun. We were able to go to the different markets. We visited historical places. We tried out different food, and we actually learned about the history of Ghana. It was definitely worth it. Our UCEAP counselors in Ghana were so amazing, and they were there to help us at any time of the day. And they did such an amazing job. UCEAP couldn't have prepared me for what I was about to experience and for how amazing the people were going to be. Throughout the semester, we got to visit three other regions in Ghana. We went to Cape Coast, Kumasi, and the Volta region. We were able to see the monkey sanctuary, the slave castles. We were able to participate in different festivals. These activities actually gave me time to bond with the Ghanaian students in school and also bond with the other UCEAP students that are coming from different University of California. The usual concerns about studying abroad usually are maybe transferring your grades back to the US, finances, the fear of integrating into another culture, adapting to the local language, or the fear of going to another country for the first time or actually living there. Personally, my number one concern was finances and transferring my grades back to the US. I was able to figure out how to conquer these challenges by meeting up with my counselors. I actually realized it would be relatively easy to transfer my grades back to the US because they already had a system where I could see classes that other students have taken. I petitioned for about 8 classes with counselors from my major's department, and they were approved. So once I got into the country, I already had an idea the classes I would be taking. And for finances, the Study Abroad Office actually offers a long list of different scholarships that you can apply to. So using the resources I got from them, I applied to all the scholarships that I qualified for. And one of the scholarships that really helped me was the Gilman Scholarship. The Gilman Scholarship is a US Department grant program that is used to help students who already received the Pell Grant to study or intern abroad. With this program, I was able to get $4,000 to help me with the cost. So with the funds I got from the Gilman Scholarship, plus all the study abroad scholarships I applied for at UCSD, I was actually able to study abroad without having to cover any of the tuition or living fees. With this being said, it is very important to keep in mind that the cost of living is very different in each country and it varies. The benefits of studying abroad are endless. These include internships, networking, resume building. I was able to intern at the Child Study Center. At the same time, I was able to network and build different connections that are still of use to me today. Other benefits include just traveling, exploring, discovering, and actually being able to move and visit different countries around the country you're staying in. Through studying abroad, you have the ability to make new friends, discover new cultures, and become even more tolerant with these cultures. With this being said, everybody's study abroad experience is definitely going to be different. And I would love for you guys to actually take this step and go visit a counselor and see if this is the right step for you. Start your research, apply early, apply for as many scholarships as you can, and start saving. Your counselors are here to help, so definitely take this step and visit them.
So, as I mentioned, it's a little dated, but really not that much. I mean, what she says still applies. And I don't know about you, every time I watch that video, I get like goosebumps and I just want to go and travel. So, hopefully, that's inspired you as well. I'm so grateful for Fabiola sharing her experience and articulating everything in such a wonderful way. And as I mentioned, most of it still applies. So, as Fabiola mentioned, she was on the UC program, which the majority of students you'll meet with or talk to are going on. And Caitlin will speak next to our maybe most popular program for studying abroad. But UCEAP offers hundreds of programs all over the world. These programs, because it is part of the UC system, these courses are automatically, by doing nothing but participating and passing your classes, are UC transferable and the grades will factor into students' GPA. So when students come back and those grades have been posted on their academic history, I mean, you've probably heard from those students prior to, but that's when they're going to be petitioning those classes with you all if that process hasn't been automated in some way or it wasn't on a already approved spreadsheet, which I'll show you some examples later. But yeah, UC EAP, if students do nothing but participate, pass all those classes, and if they don't, all those grades are factored into their UC GPA and they'll get units towards graduation. That's automatic. So sometimes we have students who say, oh, I'm going to UC EAP Korea. How will the classes transfer? I'm like, well, they're all going to come back no matter what you take. But it's up to your departments to determine how those fit into your academic plan. That's not up to us. We can't decide that. That is up to you all to review the petition process with the students and let them know how they do that, and then whether it's approved or not to satisfy the requirements they're hoping to. UC is system-wide, so the program students participate in happen for all the UC students. So they may be on programs with students from UC Irvine, UC Merced, Berkeley, you name it. Some programs will only be with other UC students. Some programs, they partner with, I had mentioned CIEE before. That's a popular study abroad provider. So UC EAP partners with them on some programs. So they'll be not only UC students, but students from other institutions from the United States on those programs abroad. And then we have programs where they are at the university studying alongside local and international students. So there's quite a variety of programming that UC EAP provides. There are programs that students need to meet certain eligibility requirements, whether you have to be a bio major or a psychology major or have taken such and such econ classes and have over a certain GPA. There are many programs where students just need a 2.0 or above to participate. There are also many programs where you can be any major as long as you meet the eligibility requirements, you're eligible to apply. Programs, as I mentioned earlier, summer is the start. And there's summer programs as long as 8 weeks, as short as 4 weeks. There are fall quarter and fall semester programs. There are spring semester programs, winter quarter, and spring quarter options. So ton of variety out there. There's programs where students can participate in internships for credit. And there's summer programs where that's what they're doing. They're interning all summer. There's programs where they'll take classes and they can choose to add an internship as well. There's research opportunities. There's community health and development programs. You name it, UC EAP has really adapted to our changing population and students' interests. And hearing from you all too, and our office, like what's important to students? What do they want to take? What kinds of classes? And they're finding programs or reaching out to the international partners to see how we can develop opportunities for our students. So as I mentioned, these are some of our most popular programs for students. As you can guess, with that UC credit and the GPA, that's important for our students. And there's this ease of transfer. So our students really love these programs. So moving on to my friend, Caitlin.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to go over our second most enrolled type of study abroad program, which is our global seminars. And as I mentioned, I'm also one of the coordinators for this type of program. So this is the summer faculty-led programs that we offer. They are most of them are 5 weeks. I would say all of them but one are 5 weeks. And we offer them during summer session 1 and summer session 2. The one that is not 5 weeks is our Dublin internship program. It's a fairly new program that we've started since the pandemic, and it allows students to intern abroad in Dublin for 8 weeks in a field of their choice. And typically we have around 20 to 25 global seminars offered each summer. Some of them are tailored to a specific college, like ERC. Some of them are tailored to a specific major, but they're all open to any majors and any type of student to apply. We obviously ask them to consult with you all to make sure the credits will transfer and that works with their academic planning. But typically they are open to all students. We have about 15 to 28 students per program, and this is why we call it a seminar, is because we keep it a really small cohort group just with the professor and the students. It's a really great way for students to have that study abroad experience, but have a lot of support throughout, because not only do they have the professor with them, they also have a provider organization helping coordinate all the logistics of the program. So right now, for example, we have our summer session one students abroad, which is really exciting. And there's an on-site coordinator with them there. So they just feel really supported. And it's a really great option for students who haven't traveled abroad before, but want to dip their toes in. And a lot of students who do global seminars maybe end up doing a UCEAP full semester program later on. Um, in terms of credit, so as I mentioned, these are UCSD courses taught by UCSD faculty. They are two courses for a total of 8 quarter units, and they can petition other departments for course equivalency as well. We offer new programs every year, so we do have some staples where they are really popular, and we offer them almost every year, such as the one on the right-hand side you see here. This is our Switzerland program. It's a Geology Adventures in the Swiss Alps program, led by Professor Jeff Cook. And this is one of his lectures when he was abroad last year, and he's currently with students this year as well. Some resources for you all, just in case you want to learn more about global seminars. We do have a global seminars blog, and students will share their experiences every week while they're abroad there. We pick about 5 to 6 students to share this experience with us, and we'll send the link to that blog shortly. And then we also have our summer 2026 flyer that was just announced yesterday. So you can take a look at what types of programs are going to be offered for next summer that students might be reaching out to you about. And then lastly, I also linked our frequently asked questions page, just if you want to learn a little bit more about how we function, and what the process looks like. Just a general overview, our applications open November 1st for summer, and then they close March 1st. So all in that meantime, we're promoting the program, working with you all to help promote it as well. And then they hit the ground running in the summer. And then just on the bottom here, I wanted to show you enrollment and how much we've grown. So on the very bottom, we started back in 2008 and we had 136 students, and we have now grown to over 450 students. And that last bar is the 2024 numbers, and we've just surpassed that for 2025 this year as well. So we continue to grow, which is really exciting, and we hope to continue to do so. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions about global seminars. And then I'm going to just drop the link in the chat really quickly of our 2026 flyer if you want to take a look at our programs for next year. And then I'm going to move on to our next type of program, which is global exchange.
Caitlin, can I add one more thing?
Yes,
Just
please.
as you're speaking, one thing I just want to highlight as well about global seminars, they're so fantastic. And one of the wonderful things is this 15 to 28 students per program. A lot of our students, especially in our STEM majors or other very popular majors that have hundreds of students in their classes, the opportunity to really connect with faculty is present, but sometimes, you have to have that confidence built in, or perhaps it feels intimidating to connect with your professor in such a way. And I think that's such a beauty of global seminars as well, is that it's given these 15 to 28 students an opportunity to connect with a renowned professor in the field. These are professors who are well loved by our students and offer classes that our students really enjoy and look forward to taking. So to make those connections, not only with other students, but professors at our university in a way that perhaps was not something in their wheelhouse or an opportunity for them previous to this, I think is such a strength of global seminars as well. And then help students build that confidence moving forward. So then when they're back on campus, they're like, oh, it's a professor. I'm going to go up and talk to them and ask them to go grab coffee or what have you. So I think that's such a great feature of our global seminars as well. I wanted to throw that in.
Yeah, that's a great point, Sarah. They do keep in touch with their students. They've written letters of recommendations for them for grad school as well. So it's just a great resource for them to have. Moving on to global exchange. So, as we mentioned, global exchange is a fairly new type of program that we've offered. It's a reciprocal academic year study abroad opportunity between UC San Diego and partner universities. And these stemmed from existing partnerships on campus. So some programs you'll notice are for specific majors, whereas others offer more general courses that students can take. And that is listed on the Global Exchange page, so they can learn more about each type of program. But they are offered all around the world. They do offer some summer STEM internship programs as well. Typically for transfer units, they're currently not directly UCSD credit at this time, so they come in as transfer units, and then students must petition to departments for course equivalency. But the positive of global exchange is participants stay enrolled at UC San Diego. So they're not paying additional study abroad fees. They're paying regular tuition and fees at UCSD. And then they have access to use their financial aid as well. So it's a very affordable option, typically more competitive. And as you saw, it's a smaller cohort group. So typically students who participate on global exchange are a lot more independent because they're working directly with the university abroad most times to enroll and prepare before they leave for the program. Sarah, do you
Yeah.
want to add anything?
Sure, sure. So one thing I thought of just now too is that we're also getting students from those universities studying at UC San Diego. So that's why we have this smaller number. So we're sending a few, and then those students from those partner institutions are coming to UC San Diego. And the difference between these exchanges and UC EAP is that UC EAP has their own partnerships with their universities. There's some overlap with Global Exchange, but with Global Exchange, these are relationships that UC San Diego has specifically with the universities abroad. So it's exciting to have these international relationships and partnerships and building too. So some you'll find that are specific to certain majors or fields, and some are really open to all students. A couple years ago, I think last year, there was a scholarship for one of the Italian programs where everything was paid for. So there's some great opportunities for our students to go somewhere new again. Now is our program that is kind of changing a little bit. So I'm going to be give you some information, but also with the huge caveat that we are adjusting our methods for Opportunities Abroad program, or OAP. So this is our umbrella term for everything that is not global seminars, UC EAP, or global exchange. What this does include are other UC schools who have their own study abroad programs. It does include direct enroll, like students who will find their own universities to study at and manage that process. And also study abroad providers like I mentioned CIEE a lot. They're not paying me, I promise. CIEE and AIFS and AB, all these acronyms of other study abroad providers that have really fantastic programs too. So we're updating our processes a bit, which we will inform through UAC what we're up to once that is clear. But in the meantime, I just wanted to give you this overarching insight into it, because I'm sure you've heard of it, some of you. So these are affiliated program partners. The credit, aside from other UC schools, comes in as transfer credit, first reviewed by admissions. If a student goes to like UC Davis's summer program, which they have a variety of options as well, or UC Irvine, that credit will come in as UC credit, but it is still, a part of this program. We have a method of students finding out how these classes may transfer to the university. So you may have seen these academic planning forms. Students may choose OAP for a variety of reasons. It could be more affordable. It could be a city or a program that UC EAP or Global Seminars or Global Exchange do not offer. I worked with a student last year whose entire family had gone on this particular program through a provider, and she wanted to continue that legacy. We've had students who it's more cost effective for them to go. They may be an international student or a non-resident of California and are paying non-resident tuition, and non-UC programs can be more affordable. So those are just some of the reasons. Like I said, we are fine-tuning our information about this, so please stay tuned. And also please use us as a resource if you have any questions. We mentioned that not all OAP are created equal. And the reason we mentioned that is we know some study abroad providers may reach out to you all directly because they have programs in China and you're the advisor for the Chinese Studies Department. Please reach out to us if you have questions about those programs. We want to make sure that you all have the information you need. These are reliable programs. Any questions? So we know that sometimes providers or companies, they'll just go straight to the source, but we want to make sure that we've answered any questions you have and also make sure these are reliable programs as well. So stay tuned for more information, but I didn't want to not mention it because you all have surely met with students on these various opportunities as well.
Moving on to student support. So I wanted to go over our student life cycle and explain what the process looks like for a student who wants to study abroad. So first we start with our Get Started session. So essentially this is the catch-all for students. If they reach out to us and they haven't gone to the Get Started session yet, we encourage them to do so. So essentially this goes over a complete overview of the different types of programs, just similar to how we've explained them, but a little bit more in depth in terms of what to consider when choosing a type of program. And we have virtual and in-person Get Started sessions typically. So at the start of fall quarter, we'll start announcing the Get Started sessions for in-person, but they can complete the Canvas course whenever they would like to get started. And then once they've completed the Get Started session, that's when they can start exploring programs. They've probably narrowed it down to one or two program types, and they can take a look at program specifics. So locations, what types of courses are offered in that location, the eligibility requirements, any specific circumstances or needs that the student might have, and learn a little bit more about the application process. So the timeline, when does it open, when are the deadlines, financial aid and scholarships for that program, so they can start planning to make sure it's within their budget. And then that's when they also meet with us. So then they are, coming to drop-in advising with us. They're contacting us via VAC to get some questions answered about the programs they're interested in. Then they'll move on to engaging with you all. So college, major, and minor departments for department-specific processes for study abroad. They'll fill out their academic planning forms to make sure that their courses will transfer if they're a UC EAP student or OAP or global exchange student. And then they will also move on to selecting a program. So once they've met with us, they've met with you all, then they can go forward with the application process and begin applying for the program. We have them apply through Tritons Abroad, which is our application server for all of our study abroad programs. So we can keep track of their application materials, and then they might have a separate application through the type of program they're doing, just depending on, like UC EAP, they'll have a separate EAP application as well. And that's when they're going to be working on course selections, filling out their final academic planning form and submitting that to us. Lastly, once they return from their program, a big part of it is reintegration. So we help welcome them back to campus. We do a welcome back event once students return from their program. And then we also help them with petitioning courses and pursuing post-program global opportunities. A lot of our students who do study abroad end up working abroad or moving abroad or studying abroad again. So it's really nice to see students continuing that international journey.
Thank you, Caitlin. Oh, this is yours too.
Yeah, and then we also wanted to go over student and staff support. So just giving you an insight to how we're supporting our students and then how you can reach out to us if you have questions. So for student support, we are assisting with drop-in advising on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And we typically have a couple hours block where we allow students to stop by drop-ins or message us through VAC with any questions. As you might have already done before, you can always transfer your questions to us via VAC. We're always available. And then we also have Calendly appointments. So if students really want to meet with us one-on-one and it doesn't work with our drop-in advising times, they can request via VAC to schedule an appointment with us, and we can do that as well. We also have financial aid advising. So as we mentioned, we have our amazing and wonderful study abroad advisor, Eduardo Magayon. And he also assists via Snow Ticket typically, but he can help via VAC as well. If you direct the messages to us, we'll get it to him. And he comes for our Friday drop-in advising as well. And then lastly, EAP has its own separate advisors. So what's really nice about EAP is you not only have our team helping with advising, you also have EAP advisors since it's such a large program and we have so many students going on that program. For staff support, as I mentioned, you can always forward study abroad questions to study abroad via VAC. And then we also listed our email addresses just in case it's something more personal or needs to be more direct to our office about a student. Our main abroad inbox is just abroad@ucsd.edu. And then we have a global seminars inbox, which is just globalseminar@ucsd.edu. And then we also have a financial aid inbox that I've included there as well. And then for resources for you all, we have a campus advisors page that I recommend taking a look at when you have the time. It does include the link to our previous advisors toolkit workshop, so you can always reference that. And then we should be adding this one as well once it's recorded. But that has a lot of great resources for you all to access in terms of how you can help students, who to direct to, and then referencing a lot of the information we've gone over today, so you can always look back on it. Sarah, do you want to add anything additional?
No, I think that's great. Also, so there is a point in some of these processes where you may hear directly, in particular from UCEAP. So once a student is on a program, for example, it may be a conversation where UCEAP could perhaps be getting in touch with you all directly with their team of advisors and program specialists and academic specialists. So that could happen when there's stuff going on abroad, perhaps like if it's an incident with a student or something's going on, we may be included in that conversation, but it could be that you're contacted directly. Sometimes UCAP academic specialists may contact you about specific programs, focusing on the departments that you're in and wanting feedback and whatnot. Sometimes we're copied on those, but if we're not, just know they may be reaching out for you for feedback on various programs or how you may view it. So just know that EAP is sometimes part of this process as well, especially you may have received retroactive petitions for students who may withdraw once they're abroad, or there's grading issues and whatnot. So that's sometimes when you might be part of that process as well. Usually we're copied, but if not, you can always copy us into those messages too. But just know that the EAP staff is not only great for our students, but also our staff. We reach out to them all the time as well. But no, that's great. Thank you, Caitlin. We're also building out some of the advisor resources on our website, so stay tuned for that as well. So department collaboration and academic integration. So I've mentioned there's like a tie for first in our concerns or questions or priorities for our students. And number one and number one and a half, or number one and one, are how do the academics work and finances? So a lot of our students will say that question, how do the academics work? And we will go over kind of what we've gone over today with you all, is how the programs work. So we know global seminars are UCSD classes, so that might be very automatic how it fits into a student's academic plan, or they may be petitioning those courses with you to satisfy other requirements. Similar with UCEAP. So we explained they're all UC transferable, but it's really up to your department to determine how those work into your plan. So I know there can be sometimes some confusion with that, but just so you know, we're supporting students to study abroad for whatever reasons they bring to us. So it could be academic goals, it could be personal goals, learning a language, it could be those internship opportunities. And we're like, you meet eligibility? Yes, you can go. You got it, right? But how those classes fit into their plan is when we're referring them back to you all, because we can't make those decisions. That is up to the department or the college to say yes or no. So when sometimes students don't always articulate that question in the best way, so it can be confusing. But We have no oversight into how classes fit into the plan. That's totally up to you all in the colleges and departments. So you have the power. All programs offer different classes, and we know that you all manage study abroad opportunities or any opportunity a student may not take on campus. So we always redirect them to you all for those questions, like how many classes can they petition from abroad? What sorts of classes to look for? So we know those that may also come up in the academic planning forms, which for UCEAP, you'll see through OnBase, and that's electronically routed. So students are putting potential classes on that. That is not the be all end all of the classes. Sometimes they're filling that out before they know exactly what they're going to be enrolling in. We just want them to get started on that process and receive feedback from you all so they have a better idea how to move forward. So maybe the feedback is like, it has to be a class about history of the country that you're in, right? Or maybe it's more specific than that, and they have to be finding, if they can, an equivalency. So we're not always, when students are in programs, looking for equivalencies, and we say that to them. It's not going to be that this class equals this class. That's a whole nother process, but can this class meet your major electives? Can it meet your minor electives? Things like that. So we're really redirecting a lot of these conversations and also coaching the students on how to sometimes revamp or think about how they're asking the questions to you all to receive the best information back too. And some departments have this noted on their websites, some don't, or it's very general about our office. We're happy to help you streamline what you have posted. I'll go into that in a little bit, but that's kind of how we're advising and coaching our students through the process. I mentioned the UCEAP academic form. That is the only one that is routed electronically. So when it's UCEAP, that's when you'll see it come through the inbox. OAP, Global Exchange, and UC International Programs, so that'd be like UC Davis, UC Irvine, Berkeley, those are still paper routed. So those, I don't know how many students are actually coming to your offices with the paper, but probably through your emails. So if it's a non-UC program and a student contacts you, what's the best email address to send that to? They are most likely doing OAP, Global Exchange, or another UC's program. So just to be mindful of that as well. So it's almost, so it's just different in that way. So the more we can have clear information on both sides, the better for our students, helps them navigate the process and answers those questions. And then once students know or are feeling more optimistic about academics and how it works and whatnot, then they're more likely to continue on their programs and strive to study abroad too, because it's outlined so clearly for them as well. And we'll answer more. I feel like there might be more questions about this. We'll answer that at the end as well. So as I mentioned, the academic planning form has a few iterations. So there's the UCEAP one that is through OnBase. Students can attach syllabi or course descriptions to that. As I mentioned, it's pretty rare that students will have their exact schedules. So you probably will see more classes than they'll actually enroll in once they're abroad. And that's just to give them some wiggle room and leeway as they build their schedules. There's some programs where they do enroll ahead of time and they know exactly, like the UC Center programs or through the providers where they're at a study center and not at the university. Some programs where they're actually taking classes at the university, they could be finalizing their schedules when they're in country. That's pretty common as well. Kind of similar to being at UCSD too. Like it ebbs and flows until like sometimes the last day to add, right? So that can be common. So you might be hearing from students in the VAC if something changes drastically when they're abroad. Global Exchange and OAP, as I mentioned, that will be manually routed to the departments. There is a course planning sheet that students might use. I actually don't know how many are actually using it all the time, but there is a course planning sheet that they can kind of play around with and may speak to you about before they're submitting the actual forms. These are just some examples, and I know this is not everyone, so I hope you don't feel left out if you're here. And if you have something that we haven't seen, please send it our way. We love seeing it. These are just some ideas for how you can incorporate course information on your websites, and I'm just highlighting a few. Bio and CSE, especially being as you saw, so many of our STEM students are studying abroad. Bio does a really great job. They have an interactive tool on their site that highlights it's also not just study abroad, it's anything that was taken outside UC San Diego. But you can see where the student went, what class, what it counted for, and then when that expires. So it might be, I think they give maybe 3 to 5 years on how long they'll accept an approved or not approved course. So that is a really great tool students use a lot. CSE has something similar. CogSci has an interactive Google document kind of broken down in the same way. These are also departments, some of them who have been awarded the UC EAP Academic Integration Grant, which I'll talk about in a minute, which departments can apply for, and it gives them some funding to create videos or databases to help with highlighting study abroad in a creative way. International Studies also has a great page on their website with, and I know a lot of you do this with clear guidelines. You can petition 2 or 4 classes from studying abroad. Here's what to look for and links. All that information is so helpful for our students, and also just tells them, hey, we support this. We want you to go abroad too, which is fantastic. Here are some ways you can easily incorporate study abroad on your websites. Of course, a blurb I mentioned. We can help you with that. Highlighting students, whether you have a newsletter or a page on your website with blurbs and students who've studied abroad. It can be dates. Some of them are like old quotes from students. I mean, the one from 2019, the video you saw. Of course, we can also always reach out to students who have gone more recently. We also have a request a speaker form on our website if you'd like us to attend upcoming orientations or class talks, or speak to your units. If you're having a staff meeting and you'd like an advisor to swing by and kind of do a mini version of this, we're happy to liaise with your offices as well. Global concentrations, as I mentioned, these are transcripted requirements that students fulfill to have global concentrations. History is an example. They have one, so students need to complete language and also take a certain amount of classes in country about that country, and they submit this information and it's on their record. And then lastly, the EAP Academic Integration Grant. So departments can apply and be awarded money to incorporate study abroad in a creative way. So let's chat. We have 10 more minutes, maybe a little bit of wiggle room from there, but we can turn this into questions as well. I'm going to jump to one more slide and then we can bounce back to this one actually. But I just wanted to highlight some of the events we have coming up, and then we'll go back to the other one. For the last few years, we've had an open house during Welcome Week. It's been so successful. Our space has changed. I should mention that. We were located we had kind of an interactive space off Library Walk, which has been closed since the summer. So we're now in UC 409, which is on the other side of Matthews Quad from Student Services Center in one of the older buildings on campus, vintage UC San Diego. And we have reserved part of Matthews Quad to have our open house this year. Last year, we had over 300 students pop in and out to learn more about studying abroad. We have tables and we have goodies and treats and all sorts of stuff to excite the students about studying abroad. So we'll send out the flyer through UX so you all know that's happening. And it's also an opportunity you can come to. It's for students, staff, anybody who wants to pop by and say hi and learn more about studying abroad. We also invite some of our returnees to come and speak about and interact and mingle with our students too. We have our Study Abroad Expo, which is in Town Square. That will be in October. International Education Week is in November. And then, of course, all the Get Started and information sessions that we will have during the fall as well, since applications will open in November, as Caitlin mentioned. And a lot of these programs are first come, first serve. So we want to make sure our students get get those in on the programs that they're so excited about. So we'd love to hear more about what you're doing, any challenges, how you can help us, how we can help you. And then let's just merge that into any questions as well. So thank you so much for being here and taking the time to learn more about studying abroad. It means a lot to see you all here and be engaged with our students. We're so appreciative. I just want to say, I feel like, don't cut me off like the Oscars, but we're just so grateful to have you all as partners because we truly could not do this without you. It's not a requirement to study abroad. So anything we can do to lift the opportunities for our students, the better. And the help from you all is so important to us, especially as our office has shrunk a bit over the last few years. And so the more word we can get out and confidence and support and referrals, the better. So we're just really, truly so appreciative of your partnerships with us all. I'm going to go ahead and stop share so we can maybe see each other's faces and chat a little. Anything you'd like to throw in, Caitlin?
I just want to echo what Sarah said. We could not do this without you and are so appreciative of your collaboration throughout the year and supporting our programs as well and helping promote them wherever possible. I know, with the budget cuts and everything, it's been difficult for everyone. So I'm just really, really grateful that we're collaborating in this way. Looks like we do have a question in the chat, Sarah, regarding APFs from Melanie.
Yes. Okay. I'm looking for it. I'm sorry. What was it?
Melanie was asking, so
Okay.
a student lists a course that they want to use for their major, but we know that the course won't count. What should they do? In the past, she's just noted in the comments that the type of course won't count, but still approve the APF.
Yeah, that's great. Just make note of that it won't count. That's and be as clear about that as possible for the students. That's an awesome question. And then they can just like move on and find another class. I don't know on the APF if there's like a spot to say disapprove, but probably just like highlighting very clearly it won't. That is so helpful. I've seen in some of the APFs, we don't see them all upon return, but the ones I have seen sometimes the information can be really general, like this is the process to petition. So any specific information, the better. We are the students and we are also appreciative of that. Yeah.
I have a few questions.
I saw one. Oh, somebody asked really quick, an example of the pre-departure tasks. So there are 2 spaces for pre-departure in our program. Well, a few. So Global Seminars is going to have a whole list of pre-departure requirements that students need to complete and submit and indicate that they've done all the things. For all programs, students need to submit a health clearance. So they either go to their personal physicians or student health and submit those documents. Pre-departure tasks can be the academic planning forms. UC has their own portal system where students are doing everything you can imagine from the health clearance, figuring out visas if needed for their programs, booking housing, filling out stuff for the host universities, things like that. So it really varies. And I will say, I not to speak for Caitlin, but they're so good at like pinging students if they're missing things. EAP also sends so many reminders. They're so generous with the amount of time they give students, knowing that, not everybody's reading their email all the time and things like that. But those are some examples of the pre-departure tasks. And some of it's independent, like book a flight and send us your flight itinerary so we know when you're coming and going and things like that. Dawn, I saw your hand up. Yeah.
So in the Urban Studies and Planning Department, we have a global, I think it's called a global exchange. I'm fairly new to the position. And we ran into a really major problem fairly recently where it was holding some of our students up from graduating even, which had to do with transcripts. Partly it was the institution in Weimar that we had the problem, like they were lagging. But then we had for somehow our students were not filling out the APF. And so I think his name's John, I believe John Huerta, maybe something like so basically then he was having to look at them and review them manually, which was taking a long time. So I'm being new in this. I'm trying to figure out like what is the most efficient way to not have an issue like that come up again, because I know it had to do with like a placeholder on the transcript and
Yeah.
something, and it was confusing. And I think
Mhm.
also the person who was our liaison, Alicia Harris, has left, and I don't actually know who has taken her place.
Yes. Um, Thank you for bringing all of that up, Dawn. What you bring up so many important parts of the global exchange process, which is also sometimes reflected in the non-UC process. So that is, we are reliant on UCSD admissions to review the courses to determine transferability. And with global exchange, the guarantee is that they will transfer, but they still need to review it. And which means we're also on the timeline of the admissions officers. So sometimes that is quick and sometimes it takes longer. So so what I'm going to do, Dawn, is I'm writing your name down right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send, so I'm going to backtrack just a minute. The person taking over from Alicia, his name is Max Renke, and he's out of the Global Initiatives Assistant Vice Chancellor's office. I'm going to connect you with him because he is now managing the programs and these are great conversations, especially it's not uncommon for the host universities, even with UCEAP, to be a little bit later to send transcripts because we're dealing with those international institutions versus like a study center or something like that. While some of this stuff is common, we can get more clarity around the process and also be in more conversation with our partners in admissions, which we are doing for that reason and also our OAP processes. So we can lump that together a bit. But yeah, Dawn, I'm going to email you. I'm going to email Max and we're going to have a thread and it's going to be great. And to anyone else who oversees any global exchange, thank you for your patience with us as we go through so many transitions. But yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Dawn. And we're going to be in touch.
Thank you.
Melanie.
Hey there. Question for you. Is it possible to get like I'd love to be able to promote our students going abroad, like especially on our social media and website with pictures and things. I
Mhm.
wonder how we might get access to said pictures
Yes.
specific to our students. Not that all students aren't fabulous, of course, but
No, yes, of course. And Melanie, I'm so sorry. Are you calm?
calm. Yep,
Okay,
calm
great.
communication.
Yes. A few things we can do. We can reach out to our students. We've had some photo contests and we can see who are comm majors and send you that info. We can also reach out to some of our comm majors and send you some of their info and connect you with them so
Yeah,
they can send you pictures. Actually, we just had a request from Global Health to do something similar.
well, great.
So we are so excited and it's so interesting. The photos that are on our slideshow that we just shared with you are recycled from years ago, and the styles, as you can probably imagine, are so different now, but they're all so great and give you that snapshot into all these amazing experiences they're having. So yes, Melanie, we can work with you to get some photos. Um, we so right now our social media is run by me sometimes. Like the other day I reposted something, but we are in the process of we've just hired we're calling them Marcom student interns, so
Mm,
marketing communications, and they're working with our office and also ISEO, so the office that works with all our undergraduate, graduate international students. So they are going to be managing our social media. So a couple things we could do is anytime you have, and this goes for everybody, anytime you all are posting anything that may have come from a student studying abroad, tag us, all that. I mean, and this is coming from my knowledge as a 40-plus-year-old woman who is, not as keen, but tag us, hashtag us, all this stuff, and then we can repost. And also, if we are doing anything related, we will also, you can share our posts too. Please share away. We're not super active, to be honest. But hopefully with these new dedicated students we will have more stuff and it'll be fun and all that good stuff.
That sounds great. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, and also I would encourage you, UCEAP and Global Seminars also does a lot of great stuff. So any kind of global seminars related, they can tag you all so you can repost. UCEAP, I'd also encourage following them. They have been doing really great marketing with specific majors. So I would follow them as well and repost anything they do, because not only are they posting, they're reposting from some of their study centers too, and they're doing some such fantastic content from students who are abroad and living it right now, or recently. So we're getting a lot of great information from them too. So I just reposted a bunch of stuff really just from EAP yesterday.
Oh, right on. Okay, yeah, I'll do that for sure.
Okay,
Thanks.
cool. Thank you, Melanie.
Awesome. And then Alyssa, it looks like you have 2 questions as well.
Hi, yeah, I just have 2 quick questions. My first one was I was wondering if it's common for students to study abroad for a full academic year. Is that something that exists?
It does. And I'm so sorry. I realized I didn't mention that when I was like naming off every term. Yes,
Okay,
year-long study abroad still exists. Is it as popular? No, full disclosure.
okay,
However, we send a good maybe 20 or 30 students a year who are going for the full academic year. So many benefits, as you can probably imagine. Just a lot of our students who go for, and I will mention many of the programs through UCAP are semester. So even though we're on the quarter system, that it's mostly semester length. There's some quarter who are partnered with study abroad providers because they can adjust like that, but we're on the calendar of the universities, or year long. So what's great is with what happens is semester they go and then they're home before they know it, right? Time goes by fast and they're really in the groove by the time it's time to return to UCSD. So encouraging year long is always fantastic. There's also opportunities specifically with UCEAP where students can fill out a form, which you may have seen that it has to be signed by their department. It's called the Departmental Approval to Extend. It's kind of a mouthful. But I like to explain to students, it opens a door, but it doesn't push them through it. So if a student is going for the fall and is thinking about staying for the full year, it informs EAP that student is interested in that. So then EAP will be in contact with them once that time arrives. Or we have students who go for the full year and, come back with like a whole new lease on life, which is obviously like so amazing. They all come back just so changed in these amazing ways. We also have students who will do 2 different programs within a year. So we'll have a student who does like a program. I've seen maybe different cities in Italy. I've seen that. I've seen different countries, although sometimes it has to be in a certain order just based on visa processes and whatnot. But UCEAP walks them through what can be done and what can't. So yes, while it's not as popular as we wish, knowing, because we know best. Just kidding, we don't. But it is possible. The other thing is oh my gosh, I lost it. It'll come back. But yeah, year long. Oh, scholarships. That's what I was going to say. Students who are studying abroad from the year are very attractive scholarship applicants because less year-long study. So it is common to see, especially, I mean, of course, if they're writing also a great essay showing that they're studying abroad from the year, there are specific scholarship opportunities for that. And also if it's a general scholarship, that's also, I think, seen as a plus on the grading scales too.
okay, sounds good. Thank you. I'm having a weird scenario with one of my scholar athletes who
Yeah.
is going to be gone for the next year abroad. So I've been working with him because they have to be eligible leaving and then also returning. So it's
Okay.
kind of like, just so for you guys to know, that's something that our compliance team is keeping an eye on.
Okay. And are they on a UC EAP program?
Ooh, I have no idea. How can
My
I?
guess is probably yes, but why don't you, if you can
Okay.
email me and I'll put my email in the chat and we can look up the student. And the reason I ask is because UC EAP is still part of UC system. So if that's connected to
Okay.
eligibility at all, they're
Yeah.
still a UC student when they're abroad on UC EAP programs.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So that question also comes into play. Oh my gosh, we're totally over. Thank you for hanging out. If anybody has to go, I totally get it. That also is the case for, we get a lot of students who ask about senior residency. And with UCEAP in particular, it's UC. So students easily can petition those that with their department because they're still at a UC, they're still registered as a UC student. So hopefully with compliance
Yeah.
that falls in line.
Okay, perfect. And then one last one.
Yeah.
I had a scenario this spring, or sorry, the students studied abroad in winter. They on their degree audit it said 16 units like in progress.
Yes.
But then after they came back and everything got evaluated, it said 15 units. Is that common? And who determines the units?
Great question. Yes. So when we enroll students in EAP 100, we always do it for 16 units with
Okay.
an email that goes out to them that says, this is not what you're going to get upon return. That's going to be
Okay.
evaluated.
Uh-huh.
We do it for 16 units. Honestly, I know I'm being recorded. I don't know why it's always historically been that way, but it is full time. And I think it gives them it's showing the units and that will help hopefully when they're enrolling for classes later and whatnot, but it's not their actual units.
Okay.
It's just holding a place so
Mhm.
that they are seen as a registered student. They meet financial aid rules. They meet any kind of rules that would 16 units would help indicate. Thank you, Melanie. I'll get that info to you. And yes, we had maybe it's the same student, but they had a similar situation. And I know that can be confusing, but I hate to be like we write that in our letter when we put EAP 100 on their record. It's in there. I actually like edited it just to be like in bold and underlined recently because it doesn't come up often that students are confused by that, but maybe it's the same student or now it's happened twice. So courses are evaluated by the academic specialists at UCEAP. So
Yeah.
students participate in their program, and then those grades are funneled through UCEAP and then land at the registrar's office to post on their academic history. So UCEAP and the registrar are then communicating. So what the student can do is reach out to the academic specialist for their program and ask any questions about what happened, why. But it is common for, depending on the country, there are low unit classes once they enroll. So there's just a lot of things to look out for. Historically, we've just always had 16 units as the base. I don't know why
Yeah.
versus 12, because that would also be full time. I'm not sure exactly.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, I can ask that too, because
Yeah.
when these things come up, it's good to refresh our memories and find out.
Yes, I had another athlete. He was planning on hitting 180 by the end of spring, like exactly.
Yeah.
And so the 16 in winter turned into 15, so he was 1 unit short. So
Yeah,
he
I
now
bet
has to
it's the
take
same
another
student.
summer class. So
Yeah.
he was totally fine, but like he was very
Yeah, I was
upset.
disappointed in that. Yeah.